Welcome to Barnyard Language, honest talk about running farms and raising families. We are Katie and Arlene, an Iowa sheep farmer and an Ontario dairy farmer, with 6 kids, 2 husbands, and a whole lot of chaos between us.
While this is a podcast for farm families, sometimes our content isn't for the whole family. So kick off your boots, reheat your coffee, and join us for some Barnyard Language.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Barnyard Language. Katie and Arlene here, as usual. And I'm always going to ask the same question when I start out. So, Katie, what's happening on the farm? What's the news in Iowa?
It is Monday, October 6th, as we're recording this. As of yesterday, we were still getting highs in the high 80s, possibly low 90s, sunny, hot, beautiful. Today, it is 60 degrees. The weather for the next 2 weeks looks about like this.
You know what? I think we're clearly a day apart in weather because it's still hot here today, and tomorrow we're going to be just like you. It's coming across, sliding my way.
Yeah, it was. I even screenshotted the radar last night because it was a line of storms from like Mexico to Canada coming across. So yeah, tomorrow should be cold there.
Yeah, I'll go out and enjoy what's left of summer this afternoon.
Yeah. But the full moon is tonight as well, I think. And we have 4 cows left to calve, and all of them look like a good sneeze would just pop them loose.
Right, so tonight's the night.
Yeah, I told Jim this morning that if he hears a sound like corks popping, it's those last calves coming flying out of there. The calves are real sassy on the ground. This cooler weather is making a lot of people a lot happier. It's real green out today. We haven't had any rain in 3 weeks, which has gotten real dry and not very pleasant. I think he came back. There's a guy here putting a new roof on our hog house, which is nice. The building's, I don't know, I would imagine 100 odd years old. And I am looking forward to it not raining on me next spring when we're...
Now, the hog house contains sheep, right?
Yes.
So will it always be called the hog house? Because we have what is a garage and a storage shed that is called the horse stable. And it definitely has never contained horses in my husband's lifetime. I'm not sure if probably maybe in my father-in-law's, younger years, there might have still been a horse, but it, I think, shall always be the horse stable.
Yeah, and it's like I worked on one farm where we had the red shed, and I once sent a new employee to get something from it, and she came back quite a while later without the item and was very confused because she never found a red shed. And I had honestly worked there for several years and never noticed that the red shed was green because we called it the red shed. My brain just assumed the damn thing was red. But yes, a good point. We also have a building that we will always call the milk house, despite the fact that we have not had spring cooled milk in, I would imagine, probably 80 years.
Well, and our mudroom is still called the summer kitchen, although we no longer move the stove out into the summer kitchen in the summer like my husband's forefathers and foremothers did. We just keep the oven in the same place.
Well, it's the same way that people refer to farms as who farmed there, when their grandparents owned the property versus who's been there in the last 75 years.
Yeah, so-and-so's farm. Were they alive in the last 100 years? Oh, no, but it's still theirs. Yeah.
I don't know, Arlene, do people up there whisper when they talk about bad diagnoses?
Yeah, I would think so, probably.
They get the cancer.
If you don't say it out loud, like in full volume, then you won't get it.
Yeah. There is something I don't think we've talked about on this show, but that day that you realize that you are now the age of adults who sit around the table and talk about every disease that everyone you know has and how different people have died. And your kids are standing there going, why are we talking about how people died? Because it could be people who died 100 years ago, too. Like, it's not necessarily a current event.
Yeah, that's right. Or the obituaries in the paper this week, either one.
Other than that, not a whole lot going on, I guess. It's apparently football season. It's finishing up all the road work before the snow starts, which could be basically any day now season. Combines are running hard. And yeah, that's about it. How are things at your place, Arlene?
Well, harvest is well underway. I think last week when we talked, silage was done, corn silage. And as of today, we are done soybeans. So that is exciting. So that's a good chunk of the fields, especially the ones close around the house. We try and plant the silage corn close to the house because you pay them by the hour. So the closer it is to the silo and the home farm, the better. So yeah, all the fields that are right close to us are now empty, and lots of bags and silos and bins are getting filled with things. Beans did not turn out as as nicely as we had hoped, but can't really control it. Can't control the weather, so it is what it is. They were okay. They weren't the best, weren't the worst. And they're done, so that is good. We had a big 4-H show on the weekend.
Was that the one where your daughter won, like, Grand Supreme Champion of everything?
She did win her class. She won senior showmanship for the region and was second place. She was honorable mention for showmanship overall. So yes, she did very well. She and her calf were rocking it. She looked like perfection in the senior showmanship class, and then had to turn right back around and go straight back into the ring for the champion show person against the winners from the other three classes. And at that, her calf was like, no, we were just here. I'm not interested in doing this again. So the calf, was not as cooperative the next time through. So yeah, she didn't win the whole thing, but she did get a nice big ribbon, which her calf promptly ate because she hung it above her where she was tied up, and she took a big bite out of it. So there's still a nice rosette with some kind of dangly looking ribbons off the end of it. So that's what you get.
Arlene, that's the photos we should ask our listeners to send in. I'm going to go ahead and say it. There's a website called Shit My Kids Broke, and I would love to see photos of anything that people's animals have destroyed. I know I have a photo somewhere of our cow, Rose, our old Ayrshire, would unroll and eat paper towels if she could reach them. I mean, I don't know if she actually ingested any, but she's destroyed a fair number.
I've got one cow who often when milking, because I wear paper towel, we use paper towels instead of washable towels, will try and reach over and grab a paper towel out of the pouch that I have around my waist during milking, and I'm sure that she's probably consumed a couple because she gets in there quick.
Yeah. I mean, paper towels can't be that much different than anything they normally eat.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I meant to mention, Arlene, is that now it's October, and the nice thing about spring is that the flies are fat and stupid. But by October, you've got like the best of the best survival of the fittest, like SEAL Team 6 Green Beret level flies.
Yeah, and dumb wasps. That's the stage we're at too. Dumb wasps and
Yeah, dumb wasps, those weird fake ladybugs that bite people, and fruit flies. Oh my god, the fruit flies.
my fruit flies had stayed away for most of the year, but now they've taken over my kitchen. So, well, on that note, bug talk.
Yay, bug talk.
Why don't we go ahead and introduce our guest for this week?
All right.
Today, we are excited to be talking to Sam Haley, who is joining us from Nova Scotia. I think that this adds another province to our list, Katie, if I'm not correct. I'll have to go back to my spreadsheet. I'm the spreadsheet owner of the podcast duo, if you hadn't guessed from knowing the two of us at this point.
You know I don't know how many provinces there are, Arlene.
Yeah, that's right. She doesn't know how many provinces there are or how many guests we've had from each province, but I've got a spreadsheet for that, so do not worry. So, Sam, we start each of our interviews with this same question, and this is your intro to our listeners. So we want to ask you, what are you growing?
Fiber. Literally, floof. I grow floof. On my farm right now, we have 7 llamas and an alpaca, hopefully 2 pregnant llamas, if all went according to plan, which if the boys had their way, I'm sure it did. We have 13 sheep, 3 Angora goats. I think that's it when it comes to floof seeds. So yeah, I grow floof.
Sam, what sort of sheep do you have?
I currently have Wensleydale, Finn Cross, and then everybody else is either Finn or Finn with like a varying degree of Shetland in them. So I have very crimpy fleeces and like tight curls that bring me so much joy. They're delicious, as you know.
And I don't really know much about llamas, but do you have different breeds? I guess I've just always looked at llamas as llamas, but I know that everything has genetic background to it, obviously as a farmer. So what breeds of llamas do you have? Yeah.
So I have, it's mostly fiber breakdown is different. So I have, I'm just trying to like mentally picture everybody in my head. I have three Surrey llamas, which, and their fiber is more like flowy. Like, think about like you throw your hair in the wind like Maybelline. They have the very flowy, delightful, delicious, no guard hair.
So when they do the head flick and run away from you, yeah, it goes cascading.
Yes, yes. And they're like, I am majestic. Watch me go.
So Sam, I did not know that Surrey was like a breed and not a brand until I started following your content. And also, I imagine that they all look like if Fabio and Justin Bieber had a child. Like, that's what I envision the hair situation being like.
And very likely the same personalities as well. So it's a thing. And then I'm trying to think, the two boys and Spice, they're more like the Argentinians. So they're more kind of like fluffy. They're very poofy, but it's not dense. It's very, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like, my little boy said it the best. They look like how clouds would feel, if that makes any sense. And that's the only way I've ever been able to be like, huh, legit. Like, that makes sense. So they're poofy, but they're also still kind of flowy. They don't have a lot of density to them. And then the other guys just kind of have like the regular coats where they have like a little bit of guard hair, and they just kind of, they're here because they poop, and we like them when they poop. Because I do the fertilizer as well with them. But yeah, those are the fiber guys on the llama side.
I'm going to raise my hand this time. I have one more llama question. So, this summer we took the kids up to the Minnesota Zoo, and they have an Andean walkthrough area where there are llamas free ranging, and there are no condors, sadly. There are also guinea pigs. Are llamas as big a dicks as they seem to be at the zoo, or is that just like a special zoo llama thing? Like, they have huge fans set up. There's one llama like laying across the front of the fan so that no other llamas can get in there. There's llamas like, you're not allowed to leave the path, you're not allowed to touch the llamas, reasonably enough. But there's a llama laying across the path. So there is no option. It does not involve breaking some rule. There's a building you have to walk through to see the guinea pigs. There is a llama with her baby standing in the walkway of the building. So you have to like turn sideways to get past her. Is this just what llamas are, or are these like unusually dickish llamas?
So my llamas, the most I've ever had at one time was 13. And they're very much like a hierarchy situation. Sometimes the top two females, and they're usually females, will shuffle around. And then everybody else is kind of bottom feeders. So chances are, like, the old girl I had here, her name was Penny. She was lovely. Mine also have fans in the summers because they're drama llamas. And I once seen her, she was standing in front of the fan, and it wasn't like they're up on the wall, so it was like just where the airflow was, and she had her eyes closed and her ears were flopped sideways, and it was very like a kumbaya moment. And then literally Spice, her granddaughter, was only a squirt at the time, like popped up to try to get some breeze, and like out of nowhere she like cracked an eye and like spit right on the side of her head, and then Spice went off. So like there's that dynamic, but like flat out prickism is not something that I've experienced. But again, I have a bit of a unique setup that like my llamas come in, they're stalled every night. They're very well handled. They're used to humans. Like they're not, some of them aren't big on like being pet and like coddled. So that's a bit of a different dynamic, but at the same time there's a type of condition they can get that's called berserk. So if they're over handled when they're, yeah, literally it's called berserk, when they're over handled when they're younger, they can actually like more identify with a human than the llamas, and then they get super aggressive, and they don't even realize what they're doing. They're just like, hey, I'm a human, treat me like a human. And then the males get so big and powerful that they can hurt you. So that's kind of like the level where they are. Everybody out here is very copacetic, so I think it's just probably like they're tired of being touched. They're tired of humans. Like they're tired of like just get out of my face. Like I had like I mean personally, I wouldn't want to be touched if I had a baby freshly like hanging off me. So I guess you can kind of relate.
I feel like, too, though, it's important to note that your llamas are Canadian llamas and these llamas are American llamas. And I feel like there might be some key differences there as well.
And not even just Canadian maritime. So I mean, like they're just a happy species in general. Like there's a butterfly outside, they're happy. The sun's shining, they're happy. That's just kind of, and they're probably very apologetic as well.
Do they all smell like maple syrup, though? Because I feel like they would smell like maple syrup. That would be cool.
Oh my god, I wish they did. My life would be so much better if they did. Unfortunately, they don't. They're not stinky. They just don't radiate like a very nice aroma of like perfuming or Canadianism at all.
So they don't smell like Timbits. Damn it.
So I already know that this interview is going to be me looping us back to trying to like get back to a somewhat of a topic, but that is totally fine. I'm good with it. So back to the things you're going. Can we talk about the kids? And you mentioned llama poop in a positive sense. Can we talk about kids and businesses in the sense of the things that you're growing to?
Absolutely. So I have two tiny people. I have an 8-year-old son named Finnegan, and I have a 5-year-old son named Felix. And they are fueled by hummingbird food, I guess is the best way of putting it. They're forces of nature and are very busy and involved and doing their things. And, the goats technically belong to Finn, so he's always out loving on them. Felix is my champion bottle baby feeder. Like we had surprise triplets last year, the year before, and he was out there 3 times a day with me bottle feeding these babies. Like he was on it. I also do the fertilizer side of the business of the farm. So I have a plant science degree. And when I was like researching llamas and being like, what do I need? Like, what do they need to survive? Like, how high maintenance are these things? Like, da 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 da. I stumbled across a thing about their manure. And I was like, I speak this language. Like, I know about these things. So what I ended up doing was coming up with like a processing, I guess for me, I don't even really know how to explain like a process. And I dry their beans, like their llama beans. They look like black beans. I air dry them and then I package them and I sell them for like in-house fertilizers for house plants or like slow release for gardens and stuff like that. And I have a few wholesalers across Canada. And then I have like, I call it the bean bag subscription. It's on my website. So you can get llama beans shipped to your house every 2 months, like clockwork. You don't have to think about it. And we do the llama bean tea as well, which is not for humans. It's not for humans before we even go down that road.
Thank you for clarifying. Yeah.
You're welcome. What it is, it's a cotton muslin tea bag that completely breaks down, and there's beans in it because a lot of people are like, ew, like I don't want to touch poop. And I'm like, well, that's fine. So you soak the tea bag in your watering can, and then you can water your plants with that as like a liquid fertilizer and then you just take out the tea bag, dry it, and then you can store it until it breaks down or it stops leaching. So that's like an avenue for humans to go if they don't want to touch poop. But like, I'm not even joking. I have a bucket of shit right over there. I'm sitting in my dining room and I can't even tell there's shit in the house. Like it doesn't have a smell. And if it does, it's like very like, it's almost like a muddy, earthy flavor smell. It's not like your dog just had a crap in the middle of the kitchen.
And then you put it in a bag.
Exactly. Or like cow or something like that has very pungent odor. It's not like that because of their digestive system. So it's kind of cool if you're into that. Like I'm like very geeking out. Like there's a lot of bowel move talk in my house. So especially with 2 boys.
So clearly it's not a hot manure then, right?
It's cold.
Yeah. You just dry it and package it up.
Yep.
What's your collection method?
They always poop in the same place.
Oh, so it's like basically like a litter box, like just fill her up.
Exactly. I usually tend to take it from inside. It's not inside the stall, sorry, I should specify, because outside, like the sheep are also walking around. So like I can guarantee you that you're going to get like llama poop, which some people are like, the fact that you even have to say that is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm like, but like if you're into it, you're into it.
Right. If you only want llama and you don't want goat and sheep mixed in there, then you need to know what your packaging is. Yeah.
Exactly. So I get it from the stalls and then I put it in buckets and then I kind of like shift out the debris and then they dry and then they put them in the bag and off you go.
Very cool.
Can we talk for a moment about the difference between hot manure and cold manure? Can you just explain it super briefly?
So a cold manure and a hot manure, the easiest way to put it for people who aren't sciencey or like nerd out about it is that a hot manure breaks down, the organic matter breaks down in it, and that's what produces the heat. So that's what tends to burn younger plants or cause problems like that. A cold manure doesn't have that organic matter content or has a lesser one, doesn't break down, and it's more slow release. So it leaches into the soil and is uptaked by the plant's roots at a different rate, and it can be used on any age of plant.
So you already mentioned that you have a plant science degree, but what is your background when it comes to ag? Or did you start out as a farm kid, or what's your ag story?
Yeah, I grew up in a lowbush blueberry field on a lowbush blueberry farm about 2 hours away from here. That's where it all started. My grandfather didn't know I was a girl until prom when I had a prom dress on. And like I was in the tractor, in the field, like this is what I know. I was a 4-H kid. I aged out and I did every single project under the books. Like my mom was a general leader. I was in like 12 projects a year. Like I'd be running into the ring, throwing my mom my rabbit and grabbing a cow. Like that's just kind of how it worked. And when it was time to go to like university, I was like, the only thing I really know that I like is egg. And I don't really know what I want to do, but I know if I don't go, I'm not going to go. So I should probably go. And was very proud that I didn't flunk out at Christmas because the partying was real. I went to the Nova Scotia Agricultural College, which is now Dal AC, and worked on dairy farms throughout the summer. And I started out actually in the equine program, and then halfway through I switched to plant science because I'm like, I really like blueberries. Like I don't know what I'm going to do with a horse degree. I'm not going to teach lessons. I'm not going to do this thing. So I started out with my plant science diploma. After my diploma, I'm like, I'm not going to be in a greenhouse. There's no point. Went back into my degree. The whole time, like I was still home helping my grandfather doing with crop inputs and like weed identification and stuff like that. And then I was lucky enough for 2 summers to work with 2 of the blueberry researchers in Nova Scotia. So I kind of got a lead way into the industry with that. So then it was just kind of afterwards, it was like, okay, what am I going to do in ag in Atlantic Canada? Like, there's not a lot of options, unfortunately. Like, we have a lot of ag for our area. Like, the Annapolis Valley is beautiful. And I always wanted to have a foot in blueberries because that's legitimately what I love. Marrying a dairy farmer wasn't on the radar because I also love cows of all forms. I love eating them. I love milking them. I love everything about them. So I took a job for a chemical company as a conventional sales rep. I was with them for like, oh my God, 9, 10 years. I don't even know. Then I had Tiny Humans, and then the job for the company I'm with right now, Andromat Canada, came up. And so I decided to change things around. So yeah, that's kind of the saga.
So for people who have never raised blueberries, and I'm one of them, what is a low bush blueberry farm, and what are basics again? Back to the Dummy's Guide to Blueberries. What do you need to know to grow blueberries?
You need to have the shittiest soil known to man. Literally, you want acidic, rocky soil. They pretty much they come naturally. You can't really transplant them. We tried that on our fields. My grandfather actually shows me it every single year. So they transplanted plants the year I was born, so 36 years ago. And you can literally walk into the field and you can see the rows still. Like they still haven't closed in. And what you want is like a full carpet effect of just like plants. There's no silver bullet for them. They grow naturally. They have a rhizome system, so like you usually mow them off and burn them off to force them to be like a forced biennial. So they will sprout and have a crop every year, but they don't yield very high. So you really want to force them to have that rest year. So when you do that, it forces the plants to put more energy into their rhizomes and it produces new shoots. So that's how you kind of keep them going, is like mowing them down. And there's like insecticides and herbicides, and it all really kind of depends. But you just kind of have to manipulate them where they are and spread them out versus like you can't just go plant them like a tree.
Right. And what does harvest look like?
A disaster. This year, oh my God, this year was a disaster, quite honestly. I know people who have had, like, we're down 70% because we had a drought. And these fields are like in the middle of forests on the side of mountains. Like it's not like a lot of people have irrigation systems or are able to do something like that. So there's several different methods you can use depending on how you're processing them. There's a lot of tractors with like double-headed harvesters on them that are like have metal teeth that are kind of shaped like that, and they just kind of go and pick them up. There's little little tiny, what we use at home, they're called grasshoppers. They're really cute, and they have like a little seat, and they have like these double little levers. I'm horrible when it comes to freaking mechanics, and you just go around and you like scoop them up, and then you dump them in your bucket, and then you can do the hand rakes and then push carts and stuff like that. So it really kind of depends on the size of your operation and what, if you're like shipping your berries or if you have like a fresh line or what the plan is. So there's a few different things.
Right. And yeah, what your terrain is and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure it would impact that. Okay. So we have covered a bunch of your different things, but you're also doing fiber. Is that right? That was like the first thing we talked about, and we haven't actually gotten back to it. So is that the reason for the animals? Or did you get the animals and then have to find a reason to keep them?
So that is what happened. I've always wanted llamas. Like I've always wanted llamas. I just think they're super cool. Like even before they got big into pop culture, I'm like, you guys are the coolest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. Like how do I procure one or several for that fact? So I ended up getting a llama.
Is this like chicken math?
Oh yeah. Way more expensive, but that works the same. So I had my first llama, and then I didn't realize that she had been separated from her mother. She'd never had been. So the next week I went back and bought her mother, who is Mama Llama.
Because she was too sad.
Yes, because I was like, I'm not this human. Like I'm not built for sad things. Like make it happy. And then not unbeknownst to me, Mama Llama was like the oldest llama in the world. Like she's the first one that came off the ark. Like I have no idea how the hell she was still alive. Like she was geriatric more so than the cat. And I was like right off the bat, I'm like, if you croak tomorrow, she's by herself. Like Lopi's by herself.
And I just saved the sad llama problem. I don't want to bring it back again.
Exactly. So in my infinite wisdom, I go looking for llamas. And found this lovely lady who in a weird, I didn't even like, it was just, the world is so small. So her husband actually, I had met multiple times and deal with his siblings in egg. So when I had emailed her, when she called me back, her last name popped up on the phone. I'm like, why are they calling me on my personal phone? Like what? Because it was the same last name as all the siblings. So anyway, talked to her, lovely human. And she's like, she's selling her llamas because she was having some health problems. And I was like, absolutely. Like, can I come meet them? Cool. Went down, met the llamas. Love the llamas. Picked out, I think it was 2. I said I was going to get 2. In the meantime, in between me meeting the llamas and taking them home, they hatched baby llamas. And she didn't know that they were going to have. And I'm like, I'm not that, obviously, as we've previously established, I'm not the person to break up a llama family. So me and my grandfather went with the trailer where we were going to take home now 3 llamas. One of the llamas who I was supposed to get, Blaze, who's here, wouldn't get on the trailer. So instead, she's like, well, why don't you take like Pepper and Jim, because like they're like the little boy llamas were a week apart and they were best friends. So instead of coming home with 3, I was coming home with 4.
The trailer's already there.
Right. And my grandfather's like, whatever. And I'm trying to call my ex-husband, who's a paramedic, and he had to work that night. So he was sleeping. So I'm like, I'm calling him, I'm texting him. I'm like, you need to know this. I'm not going behind your back. I'm not being shifty. Like, this is what's happening. Pull in the yard. He was asleep, didn't even look at his phone, staggered down, opened the door. He's like, that's 4 llamas. You have a science degree. You can count that high. What happened? So then I explained. So then we had 4 llamas. Unbeknownst to me, those 2 llamas were also bred already again. And then I was like, it was just like a llama apocalypse. And then that summer, the day I was in labor with my youngest, she dropped off 2 more llamas. So then I have all these llamas, and I'm like, this is the most magical thing ever. What do I do with all the llamas? So then we found out, like, they need to be sheared. And then it was like, oh, like, well, how, what? Okay. Figured all that out. Oh, okay, now I have all this fiber. What do I do with that? And it was just kind of, like, progressively, like, a rabbit hole. But I didn't know I'd love, fibering as much as I did. Like, I couldn't knit. I couldn't crochet. I couldn't tell you the difference between a different weight of yarn. I knew nothing. I knew my grandmother sat there and did it and cursed every once in a while. This is all I knew. So now it all just kind of like stampeded, and I loved it. Like, I literally, like, the fiber, like, other than the animals, the fiber part is my favorite part, hands down, no questions asked. It's super, super cool.
So what has been your journey into fiber? Because I know a lot of people just shear whatever they've got in the barn, and sometimes it gets sent somewhere and sometimes it gets thrown out because it really doesn't have any value, monetary value. So what did you start doing with it, and what do you like at that time? And then what's your process now?
Yeah, so I get the only thing I don't do currently is shear them myself. I have a shearer who comes in and does that for me because, like, let's be serious. I've tried and I'm like, this is not my song and dance. Like, I'm not built for this. Like, I can't. There's people to pay for this. I'll gladly do it. Other than that, I usually process it here myself. Sometimes I'll send it out for it to be made into roving, and then I'll spin it back, like bring it back and spin it myself. But what I've gotten into mostly is that I send it away to be washed, especially the sheep fiber to break down the lanolin in it. The llama's not so bad. They're just super dusty. So I do have a machine called a tumbler that I like will spin it in and blow out a lot of the debris and the dust. But with the lanolin, you need a certain temperature, which is super hard. So I have to do batch like washing on my stove and then dump the water outside because I can't get water hot enough otherwise to break it down and to get everything out of it.
On a whole sheep fleece.
Yeah, a whole sheep fleece.
That's a big pot.
Exactly. But I do it in small batches. So I have dryer bags that I put this stuff in and then do it on my stove, and I have a pot that I just go back and forth to, and it's like, it takes forever. And I'm like, this is not, like, I'm gonna have to charge somebody $400 a skein just to, like, what? So what I've started doing, actually, I found someone who will, a lot of the mills don't want to just wash it. They want to like process it for you. They want to pick it. They want to card it. They want to make it into rovings. They want to send it back, which is not what I want to do. That's the part I like. I love being able to like take a handful from Fifi's bag, take a handful from Dorothy's bag, blend the colors and see what happens. So I'm actually in the process of skirting all my fleeces from this year, vacuum shrinking them into bags and sending them on a bus for them to get washed, and then they're going to come back. Because it's foolish. They have industrial washers that do this versus me looking like Betty Crocker with like soup pots and like bags of fleece, and the house smells horrible. So, and I've tried different methods of like fermenting it and everything, and it just doesn't work. I don't know if it's the climate I'm in or what.
Yeah. There are some steps that other people can take care of, right? Shit in a bucket is fine, but
Yeah, shit in a bucket is fine. Wet sheep fleece, I draw the line. Draw the line.
yeah, we use the stove for other things. So then once you get to the point where it's yarn, are you selling it? Are you dyeing it? What's your end?
I know how to dye, and I taught myself how to dye. My sheep and my llamas have really cool colors. Like, I'm very, very lucky in the sense that I have a really lot of cool, like really warm textures of brown and grays and whites, and I can mix them and they look amazing. So I haven't dyed anything yet from them because everything's just delicious the way that it is. But I am behind the belt right now because the summer's been crazy with work and the kids, but I am kicking it up, like production up quite a bit. Like, I'm spending a lot more time like in I call it the floof factory. So like carding and picking and like all that racket. And my website will have a good little yarn dump on it here before too long. But usually people buy it so quick because they know, like with my social media following, it's like, oh my God, that sheep's so cute. I want yarn from that sheep. And then, I post skeins of so-and-so, and then it's gone like 5 minutes later. It's just like, it's crazy to me. It's cool that people can relate to them that way. But at the same time, I'm just like, it's just my sheep. Like, it's just my llama. Like, they're there. Like,
Yeah. So now are you a knitter or crocheter, or you still focus on the creating of the yarn itself? Yeah, you're a fiber artist.
I am. So I learned how to crochet. I can't crochet in a straight line. I can only crochet in granny squares or hexagons or something like that. The straight line doesn't work for me. And this is hilarious actually. There's a lady called Lily Lake Knits. If you see her on Instagram, her stuff is like, it's ridiculous. She designs her own patterns. It's all cable work. Like, she's phenomenal. her kid is in my kid's class, and we had no idea. So I'm like been stalking and drooling over this stuff forever, and then all of a sudden I get this notification that this lady is doing this knitting class at the school. And so when we get there, and I'm just like, we realize who each other is, and we start like roaring hysterically. I'm like, what are the chances? Like, seriously. So she's taught me how to knit. She's done some really cool things with some of my yarn too, like fingerless mittens and stuff like that. Because there's just like, I'm very basic. Like, I can do like, a cute cable here, or like a little like a slide here. I'm not like huge into it yet, so I've given her yarn to play with, and it works really well. So that's kind of where I've drawn the line. I haven't gone into looms yet. I haven't really gotten into anything along those lines, because it's just like, it's very time consuming, and time is a very rare thing around here. So
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you're creating all all of doing most of the steps of creating the wool to begin with. So there's only so many hours left in the day. You do apparently still need to sleep.
yes, so I've been told. So I've been told.
So I feel like Katie's probably going to have, as the resident fiber artist on the podcast, going to have some more wool based questions.
So I'm gonna go ahead and interject this here. Sam has a very old cat. I also have an old cat. Why are old cats the best? We'll come back to fiber. We'll loop back around to it.
I think it's because they have all the secrets. They have all the secrets. They know everything. Like, they're just like they know they can sleep wherever they want and walk wherever they want, because they know all the shit you've done since you've had them, and it's blackmail. That's my theory. Like, if that cat could talk.
I feel like, too, it's like the first time that society accepts us treating cats the way cats think they should be treated all the time. Like, cats think they should get geriatric cat privileges all the time.
From kittenhood. From kittenhood.
Yeah. But once they're like really old men, you're like, well,
exactly. And I'm quite fond of little old men. I think they're very cute and collectible. So I mean, like, I'm partial. So it's a very vicious circle for me. Very vicious.
I understand. So looping back around to the last part I caught before my internet cut out completely, I imagine too that washing fleeces on your stove smells bad.
Yes. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Yes. Lanolin. I mean, lanolin's good for the skin. It's good for the sheep. That's pretty much all I have good to say about it. It's nasty, nasty shit. I've heard it's good for breastfeeding, I guess.
This was a milk-free zone, so I honestly don't know.
Same.
And it sounds horrible, but every time I hear that, I'm like, I have visions of like women rubbing their breasts on sheep. And I know that's not what happens, but like, that's literally what comes to my brain, is this woman just like jiggling her boobs on a sheep. And I'm just like, I can't. Like, this is where it stops.
It worked for me, but that was my only experience with lanolin. So that's all I've got to contribute.
That's very promising. I'm happy to hear that, because that could have been disturbing.
Podcasts are free to listen to, but they aren't free to create. Katie and I would appreciate your support as we work to build the Barnyard language community.
Patreon is an easy way for you to make a contribution that goes directly to making the show. As a member of our Patreon community, you get to watch the video version of our weekly updates, complete with questionable hairstyles and clutter. With 3 levels of support, you can choose a tier that works for you.
Keep the podcast going by becoming a patron today at patreon.com/barnyardlanguage.
So, it turns out that having children can be life-changing, disruptive, even. Perhaps the most magical time of your life, perhaps less magical overall. How was that? Giving you a broad variety of...
My favorite thing about being pregnant and like becoming a parent was literally labor, because I knew it was over. I had the worst pregnancies ever, because I had so much shit to do. Like, I didn't have the luxury to be like, oh, my back hurts, I'm just gonna have a nap. Like, that's not how it goes. It's like, oh, my back hurts, well, I'm just gonna try and flip this round bale and then call it a day. Like, it was one of those things. And I actually ended up with a stage 1 prolapse after I had my oldest, because no one told me that you shouldn't put a 9-pound baby on a carrier and go do barn chores.
If you're on a lot of the farm women Facebook groups, they actually encourage you to do that. And I like to be one of those people who's like, maybe give yourself like a couple of days or maybe even a couple of weeks, like just like plan for healing and don't like assume that you can just head back to that rice field with the baby strapped to your back.
Right? Right. So, like, my doctor, I went in for a checkup and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, stalls? She's like, what do you mean stalls? And I'm like, well, I have to clean my horse stall. Like, I don't understand, like, that has to happen. And she's like, your uterus is trying to evacuate your body. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I have a carrier. My first son, my first baby to evacuate the dance floor, 9'1", 22.5 inches. I did not half-ass this cooking of the child situation at all. And if she's like, if this was a regular sized baby, this could have been fine. She's like, but you're literally carrying around, like, no. So I had a really hard time slowing down, I guess, is the big thing for me, because it was just like, my husband isn't here, shit has to get done. And I am very much a get shit done person, regardless of how it works, like, or how it looks, it needs to be done. So that was, and then I phased back into work when I full time. I went back at part time at 9 months, because I'm like, I have no idea how this is going to work. I had my first son in June, so, like, let's talk about application timings for insecticide. Like, you know, and I had to phase in, so I went back part time, went back full time at a year. You know, thankfully, where I live, it's such a small area, not a small area, but, like, everybody knows everybody if you're an egg. So, like, bringing a tiny human to a trade show is, like, usually very receptive if you have to. And, you know, the grandmas are taking them and clucking on them and stuff like that. The second one was a bit jarring. He was much smaller, thankfully, so I had a much easier recovery. But it was like, it's the juggling of the two. Like, it's like, and I remember reading, like, you have to go to the oldest one because they remember more. Like, if he's the one who's crying, like, he's going to remember you not being there, and he's going to remember this, and da-da-da-da-da-da. But then at 9 months, I couldn't pick either one of them up for, like, 12 weeks because of their size and my hysterectomy. So I had people in here like clockwork, like, all day, every day. Like, my grandfather came up, for God's sakes, and would, like, wake me up, bring me Felix so I could feed him and do his bottle, and then would bring him back to his bed. So, and then phasing back into work and getting a new job with egg and stuff like that. So, like, it was very daunting. And, like, looking back, I really have no idea how the hell I did it, especially alone. I have no idea how I did it. Now it's like, I probably should have just murdered somebody. I think I would have felt a lot better. But very much happy. Like, if there's no way I could have survived a third, I don't think. Like, mentally, I think that would have done me in. And I just, you know, and we have a small setup, but I just feel like that would have been like, this is the line and you've hit it full-fledged.
Right. So for context, we have had a little discussion offline between the three of us. So with your second at 9 months, you both had a hysterectomy and were separating from your ex-husband at the same time. So that was also a big factor in that period of your life. Yeah.
Exactly. And it was during COVID as well. So it was very hard to, like, what do you juggle? Child help or, like, on-farm help, and then you can't push off a surgery. And it was an elective procedure, but my family has a history of ovarian and uterine cancer, and I was tracking to show signs. Like, my uterus was 3 times the size it was supposed to be. And, like, not just because I was 9 months postpartum either. Like, my OB was like, oh, he's like, good call. He's like, usually I would argue with people. He's like, but good call. So that was kind of the thing too. It's like, how do you, like, live for the 2 kids that you have, or, like, hold on to your baby house and hope that maybe you're going to have some with somebody else? Like, it wasn't really up for discussion for me. So yeah, it was a very complicated and convoluted situation, needless to say.
So I think especially in ag, there are more things to consider when getting a divorce. There's, when we're talking about living things, not just humans, but animals and, people who have investments together in terms of land or equipment, or, there's sometimes multi-generational stuff going on. So when you talk about your divorce as it connects to agriculture, how did that impact, I mean, I guess not the decision, because obviously it was the right decision for you, but what are some things that people need to keep in mind if that's the path that they're on, or that they see their relationship heading?
I think for me, I was actually lucky in the sense that my ex-husband was not from an egg background. So all the egg was me, essentially. Moving to the country was something that I wanted. I'm not having tiny people in like a cubicle in Halifax. Like, that's just not happening. So the big thing that came for me was when it was time for all this to happen was like, A, is this the lifestyle I want my kids to have? Like, I want them to be in the country. I want to yell at them for trying to sneak frogs in the house. Like, this is kind of, I want them to have that kind of feral, be able to go out and have fun and not have to worry about them being run over by a bus or something like that. And then it was like, okay, so if this is what I've decided to do, what am I willing to sacrifice in order to make this happen? So, like, mentally, physically, what can I handle? And I think that's something that isn't thought about enough. It's like, okay, because and a lot of people who get divorced are like, yeah, like, well, I'm keeping the house. Okay, congratulations. But what does that mean? Like, or I'm keeping the business, or I'm keeping the farm. Okay, but like, realistically, if you think that, hypothetically speaking, you can run a dairy farm that has a 6 parallel parlor that milks 300 cows by yourself, like, let's be logical here. I don't think. I think that's something that people really have to think about when, if you're going that way and you're an egg, because you're going to be one person, and if there's tiny people involved, you are literally those little people's worlds. So I did it because I very much involved my kids in everything. Like, I'm of the different cloth, I guess, that, like, I talk to my kids about everything. They're boys, and I want them to be aware of things. Like, like, if I, drop something on my foot and I'm crying, I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm like, yeah, no, I dropped the round bale on my foot and now I can't feel it. Like, I want them to be aware, and I want them to know how, like, what hard work is, because I feel like that's a value that a lot of kids nowadays don't have. So those are things I think that you need to think about if you're going down that way. Also, the investment of buying a property in general, like, I was clueless because my ex-husband, he paid the mortgage, like, I contributed to things, but, like, I didn't know what kind of water filter I had. Like, what? Like, I could tell you what was happening in the barn. Like, I could tell you everything, the lights, everything. I had to change a water filter. I was like, what the fuck is a water filter? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I had a hose blow on, like, my water pump, and there's water everywhere, and I'm like, I have no idea. Like, it's that stuff I think that you need to, like, familiarize yourself with and prepare yourself for it, because that's the stuff that you don't think about that comes in as, like, the straw that broke the camel's back and makes you have a mental breakdown when it happens. And again, those are things that I never thought of. Like, I feel like since my divorce, I'm, in some facets of life, I'm a much better, well-rounded human for, like, knowing these things. In some areas, I'm still absolutely fucking clueless. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, but I can keep children alive. The house hasn't burnt down. My animals are growing fleece. Call it a day. If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, that definitely does. I mean, I'm sure we all have departments where we're like, oh, that's not my job, so I don't need to know about it. If you're in a relationship, with two people, and so yeah, if someone drops there and it's like, oh, I didn't know that was also my job now.
Yes, this was a job I am not, like, qualified for. I did not go to school for. Like, I know nothing.
Yeah, I didn't apply for this. Yeah.
Right? There's so many times I've called my grandfather in tears and be like, I don't know what this means. Like, I don't know what this happened. Like, what does this light mean? And he's like, bless him, now he's 81, and now he's just chosen to be deaf every time that I call. So I have to call somebody else to figure it out. But God love him. He's like, I've gotten you this far. I'm done. Like, if you can't do it,
now you're going to have to call a plumber.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
I feel like it's important to remember too, though, that even if it's not because of divorce, that if you're living and working with a partner, and especially farming where you have all these things besides just a house to keep running, that if ev- even if it's just a serious injury and not death, there's no backup on the things that are in your head. And so, like, my husband and I had this discussion again last week about, he grinds all the feed. And I mean, most of what we feed, I have a rough idea what goes into it. I've never ground feed. I've never run a feed mill. I don't know how much of what goes into it. I'm guessing that my father-in-law or like my husband's cousin could probably figure it out. But I don't, if all hell breaks loose bad enough that my husband can't grind the feed, I don't want to have to be hunting somebody down and trying to figure out what we're doing, because the animals still have to be fed. And it's not a matter of like buying a bag of dog food. Like, we're talking about large numbers of cattle where it's, I mean, large for us, more than I can buy a 50-pound bag at the feed store and be good for a week while we figure this out. Like, I don't want to be dealing with this shit, and needing that backup is a real thing.
It's a real thing, and I've been lucky enough to accumulate some humans, which is super great because for my like actual adulting job, sometimes I have to travel. So, like for example, tomorrow I'm flying. I'm going to Ontario for a week for work. I was in Chile the beginning of August, that type of thing. I have like historical notes. Like I'm talking charts and simplified and color coding. Like anybody can walk into my barn at any given time and know what's up if they have that piece of paper. And usually for my house sitters and my people, like I have some neighbors who are fantastic. My best friend owns a dairy farm down like 7 minutes down the road, and we joke that we're sister wives. Like like whoever gets a person, the other person is coming. Like you inherit her and her problems because like if not, she'll die. Like that's just how this works. So they all kind of have access to the list, and they all know it's like, hey, I'm stuck at the airport. Can you do this? And like I never understood the significance of like it takes a village until this type of thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, blah, 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 like whatever. No. Like if I did, I have my people for the barn, I have my people for the kids, and if they didn't exist, I don't know what would happen. Like I would be a shell of a human, like probably outside talking to the side of the barn. Like it would not be a good situation. But yeah, you definitely need to have the backup.
Well, and I feel like too it can be such a gift to your community to allow them to be part of that, because I know like one of my friends had a baby last fall. Actually, I think while Arlene was visiting. Um and she added me to the emergency pickup thing for daycare. So he just showed up in my app one day, and I was just like, "Hey, I'm not paying his bill. So don't even think about that." Like just cuz he's on my list, but it gave me, the right to pick him up and clock him in and out of daycare and that sort of thing. And knowing that she trusts me not only with her child but with her baby, because she has two older kids who are like fairly self sufficient, you know, can eat by themselves, So being asked to take care of one of them is not nearly as big of a trust thing as a little tater.
the tiny the tiny humans. My best friend, actually, I'm quite certain my son would walk over me if I was on fire to get to her, because she has cows, and he's adamant, like, cows, mummy, like cows. Like I'm like, you are 5 years old and you're a quota hunter. There's nothing okay with this. However,
And cows don't have good fiber.
no, and cows don't have good fiber. I mean, I'm pro cow too. I love cows. Like again, I said I love like milking them, eating them, loving them. The whole facet of a cow. I am pro cow. But yeah, like friends like that. So like when people help me out like that, I'll like, donate to like fundraisers and stuff like that. Oh, you want to have a few bags of fertilizer, do that? Cool. Like, I've been asked to teach some of the fiber art for the 4-H club for like, crafts and stuff like that. And it's like, absolutely. Like, why not? Like, it's the least you can do to help out. Like, I don't understand the people who don't think like that or aren't honored by things like that. Like, I still very much have an imposter syndrome sometimes when people call and they're like, oh, we have this question, what did you think? And I'm like, I don't feel like I'm like an adult enough to be this person giving you this information. Like, I don't think I'm seasoned enough. And they're like, well, yeah, like we were told to call you. And it's like, weird. So like you could just give back, you know what I mean? You can give back in the ways like, unbeknownst to me, which I find is really funny. So the lady who I got my llamas from and the lady who taught me to spin, like I was still very baby in like the fiber world in Atlantic Canada, and I was not aware. They're the Yodas. They are legitimately the Yodas, and they are the ones who pimp me out everywhere. Oh, you need a spinning class? You should call Sam. Oh, you have a question with that? You should call Sam. And I'm like, I don't know if they're just sick of being all the knowledge and are too old to hear the people on the phone.
They're like, we already taught her. Could she just pass the knowledge along?
Exactly. And it's so funny because people are like, well, where did you learn that from? Or who'd you hear that from? And I say, I'm like, well, Marilyn and Delia. And they're like, oh, really? It's like I've been touched by the hand of Midas. And I had no idea until like, I go and meet the people and I'm like, oh yeah, no, like this was like the royalty. Like this is like fiber royalty. This is ridiculous to me. So
you have been blessed.
I have been blessed. It's like, and they're magical humans. Like I love them to pieces. Like they're fantastic.
Yeah. So on the topic that we've already been kind of covering, how do you integrate your off-farm job, the farm, the kids, childcare, all of that kind of stuff on a non-crisis week? So like things are going well. How do all those things work together for you and your family?
There's usually no the only crisis we have right now is that I got a llama who poked himself in the eye with a piece of hay. That's really the only crisis this week, which is kind of nice. Usually like
better llama than human, right? Although llamas are probably harder to treat, right? If you had to.
He's one of my intact males, and he's like, don't touch my eyeball. Mm-mm. He doesn't want the eye drops. Life is, for the most part, if I'm not traveling and we don't have a sport, like my oldest is really, really involved in soccer. And he's actually, like, he's moved different clubs now because of this, and now he's an hour and 15 minutes away for a practice 3 times a week.
Oh, rural sports. Boo.
Rural sports, right? I'm like, and I keep telling myself, it's soccer. It could have been hockey. It could have been anything else. Let's embrace the round ball with the friggin' black spots.
Yeah, summertime sports.
Summertime sports. So usually the boys usually wake up around 5:36. And that's kind of like I start when they start, if that makes any sense. I am very, very lucky that we have a before and after school program at the school. So you can drop them off anytime between 7:30 to when school starts, which I don't know when school starts because I always take them to the school program. And then they have the after school program that they go to after school until 6 o'clock. And I don't know when school ends because I always pick them up from there. I'm horrible.
Yeah, as long as you're there by 6, you're good.
Exactly. I'm like, I have this window. This is when I do this. So usually we get up, I get them downstairs, they acclimate to whatever mood they're in with, a book or some sort of singing animal. I don't know. I'm going to the coffee pot. Don't talk to me until I have my first coffee. So then I have the coffee, turn on the brain, usually have the second coffee, make their lunches, get them out the door, things are fine. I'm usually at my computer for work around 8:30. So I always go down the barn, get everything done there, come back up. Then I'm here doing whatever I need to do for work, depending when I have meetings and stuff. Like I always take like a 45-minute lunch break so I can like run outside, check waters, check everybody, just like clear my head, pet the kittens. Always a fun activity. And then I usually work till 4:30, run down, do the barn again, just check everybody depending on, temperatures, if they need to come in, what's going on, go get the boys. If we have an activity or whatever's happening, bring them home. We go back down to the barn. They say hi to everybody. They try to massacre a frog, like whatever it is that they decide to do at that given time. And then I usually try to have them in bed by like 7:38. And then like day 2.0 starts for me. So I'm spinning or I'm washing or I'm carting or I'm planning social media posts for the farm or I'm doing something like that. That's usually if there's no soccer, if there's no activity, play date, traveling, like that's kind of the like I have a very structured day and it's the only way everything works, but it's also extremely anxiety provoking because if something runs off a top, like if bedtime's pushed by 45 minutes because I couldn't get them out of the pond or something like that, it causes a bit of anxiety because then it leads into like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be doing this and I allotted this time, but now I have to like, make sure that the dryer switched over because someone's not going to have underwear for tomorrow and that's not good for anybody. So it's a balancing act, but it's slightly catastrophic when it goes off kilter. So we do what we can, and I've been trying very hard. Like I've been trying very hard, and I started going to therapy because I'm like I am my own worst nightmare, and I have to realize that. And everyone says it. The things I do in the run of the day are more than what most people do in a week, and I have to be kinder to myself. So it's like, okay, well, you didn't get 3 skeins of yarn done. You only got 2. Why is that such a big, like, it's not a big deal in the scheme of things, right? But to me, it's like catastrophic because I didn't hit that line. So it's a balancing act. It's ever evolving, but that's kind of how we roll.
Yeah, that does sound like an exhausting schedule. So I agree with your therapist. You should give yourself
Right? And I laugh because everyone's like, oh, like you're an inspiration and all the things that you do, and then you started the Llama Lab and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I am not the standard. Do not hold me to the limit that you want to be at because this is not okay. Like this is me being a type 3 enneagram who cannot say no, who cannot stop doing anything, who is go 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 because I'm trying to feed something. This is not okay. Like my child, bless his soul, he's 5, and I was like, he's like, let's go. Got his sneakers on, fantastic. Off the store we went the other day. He had 2 left shoes on that were both blue. So I mean, it could have been anybody's mistake, but there we got the daycare and everyone's laughing. They're like, if that's the worst thing that happens, and I'm like, that's kind of bad to me. Like, I'm dropping the ball, he's running like a duck, he's falling everywhere. Like, I don't know what you want from me. Like, this is pretty bad. So yeah, I am not the standard by any stretch. What should I try to tell people? But it's a hard pill to swallow to do all the things for sure.
Sam, I feel like that's honestly a lot of our drive to do this show because I feel like a lot of the folks that we've had on this show, possibly some of the hosts of this show, possibly sometimes both hosts of this show, are also the sort of people who are driven by momentum in life and may or may not occasionally be crazy perfectionists who take on way too much and would hold.
and have an inability to say no to things.
It's fine, Arlene. It's fine. Arlene's talking about herself. She tried to say no to co-hosting this podcast a number of times, and yet here we are, season 5.
Here we are. Yeah, 5 years later. Yeah.
5 years later, still hasn't managed to say no to it. That we hold ourselves to these standards that we would never hold someone else to. And perfectionism can look so much like saying that you're better than other people. And this is what my therapist told me. And I tried to be like, well, that's bullshit, isn't it? And she was like, would you expect anyone else to be able to do this? And I was like, well, no, because I'm better. I should have some magical way to do an literally impossible thing. Was your job remote before the pandemic?
Yes, it was. Thankfully. Yeah, I've never been in an office.
Okay. Can we discuss this return to office, remote work is evil bullshit? Because remote work is the best thing that has ever happened to farming. And I am real mad about this. Like, well, if you don't come to the office, how do we know you're working? Well, are you going to stand over my shoulder at the office to be sure I'm working? I wasted way more time when I worked in a place.
Exactly, because you're looking for escapes. And that's what I've said from the get go. And I'm like, if you think it's going to be like, and I mean, this is coming from someone who's always been remote. Like, I've never been, I think I've worked part time at jobs and I've been in buildings for like egg and like, retail stores and stuff like that. But like, I was always doing things. But like, just like, my productivity isn't going to change if you're going to try to make me go. I'm going to be pissed if you're going to haul me in somewhere and take me out of my setting and my comfort zone, and like I'm going to try and nest and it's going to be a thing, and I have a system that works. I get my job done. Fuck off. Like, seriously. Like, it sounds horrible, but it's just like, what are your issues? Please lay them out and then we will address them. And then I will show you that you are just making things up, because why? Like, why? Like, an egg, it's ridiculous, especially when half the time if I'm on the road on farmers, why would I have to drive into an office,
Which is going to be far away from your home. Yeah.
exactly, talk to 3 people who I don't really give a shit about or have no need to talk to, and then drive back out in the country where I'm at to see a farmer who's 5 minutes down the road.
Well, and two, just the idea that somehow if you're at home, you're distracted, and if you're at work, there are no distractions. I mean, I think stereotypically, historically, when we were talking about married white men who could just go to the office and assume that anything that was happening away from their desk was not their problem, maybe that was different. But when I'm working from home, I hate saying the peace, but the knowledge that if all hell breaks loose, I can just stand up and walk away and go get my kids in under 15 minutes is huge.
Exactly.
And that
It's
I'm not
huge.
like, that if I'm having a really bad day, I can just turn my camera off and not be like, keep smiling and try to figure out when to have therapy. And, like, what utter bullshit.
And adding so much unproductive time to a day, right? Commuting is not nothing. Driving and getting to a physical place is not part of a paid workday, but that adds a huge element to any workday.
Oh, it's crazy. And especially if you're rural. It's like, and well, I mean, rural as in, and now I don't know if it's the same in your guys' neck of the woods, but there's construction everywhere right now because the weather's nice. So like all the roads that even thought about having a pothole, or even thought about having a pothole, or like they have to have their old pothole checked on, there's like construction left, right, and center. Like, it would usually take me 2 hours to get home to my mom's place, like our home farm, and now it's like 3, just because everywhere like there's construction, and it's ridiculous, and it's like there's no need of it. Like, when I can be just as productive from home if I don't have to go anywhere. Like, why?
So, second work-related question, how far is the airport from you?
45 minutes, give or take. Give or take.
This is the other thing, having been working remotely for a tech company, that people are like, well, we can just fly to X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, I can drive an hour to the airport that will connect me to somewhere that I can fly from. And I mean, I love our smaller, more local airport, but the closest international airport is 3 hours and change. Like, it is not that simple for me to just fly to a place. And that can be confusing for folks. I think that the airport might be more than an Uber away.
And I run into that. So our head office for the company I work with is like, our head office is in Switzerland. So a lot of the European crew is like, oh, you jump on a plane and go 45 minutes, or you take the train, or you take this, or you take that. So like, they're always intermingling with each other with all the different like subsidiaries that are over there. My coworker is in Canmore.
So like a 4-day drive.
Exactly. So it's like my coworkers in Canmore, my sales managers in Ontario, our head office for Canada is in Fredericton, and I'm in Nova Scotia. So, and they have no perception of what that means. They're like, oh, well, you can just like go to BC for the day. It would take me a day plus a 2-day time change adjustment to be a functional human being when I get there. I beg your pardon. So every time we get together, usually once or twice a year for like everybody, we'll get for like meetings and like updates and stuff like that. And they're always like, well, the Canadians are always stuck together. Well, the Canadians are always stuck together. Because we never see each other. Like, we never, like, the Fredericton crew for the office is one thing, but, like, the sales team, we're never together. And we're, like, we should be institutionalized, honest to God. Like, the stuff that we come up with, like, the things that happen, the stories that occur, like, we can't even make this stuff up. But, like, we genuinely like each other. So we want to see each other. But they don't get it because they're like, well, we see each other every day. I'm like, yeah, because you're a 45-minute train ride away that costs you like 0.2 euros. I'm like a $4,000 plane ride away and several days. Like, there's no comparison here. Like, I beg your pardon. Like, go to BC for a day.
I feel like, too, companies really need to understand that if they don't let us work remotely, they don't get the cute baby animal photos. If I get to work from home, you get lamb photos. If I have to drive somewhere, I mean, I could probably still take lamb photos when I get home, but I'm not going to. Because now I don't like you. Because now we're not friends. Because you made me put on hard pants. And you made me go somewhere where there were people. And now I'm mad.
I had to wear a bra today. No sheep for you.
Now, that should be the line. Did I have to put on a bra? Then that's it. That is your favor for the day.
Exactly. I was an adult. I was a full functional adult. What did you do today? I put on a bra. 100%. Oh, yes, I agree. And that's the thing. They love the baby animals or any animal in general. So, like, a lot of people are like, oh, they have a golden retriever. Congratulations. Would you like to see my menagerie? Like, I'm just like, he's cute. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say no to a good golden retriever, but, like, would you like to see this llama with really fuzzy ears? Absolutely. It's a thing.
Okay. Well,
It's a thing.
what is your biggest parenting struggle these days?
Keeping them alive. Really, honestly. And feeding them. I don't get it. They're boys, and I literally looked the other night and held up Finn's foot, and I was, like, looking at his foot. He's like, what are you looking at? I'm like, a hole for where the food comes out. Because there's nothing, like, you are a beanpole. Like, I'm 5'6". His head is, like, to my shoulder. He's 8 years old. He's in a size 6 foot. Like, I do not understand. And trying to feed them healthy. Like, like, thank God my best friend, like, she breeds her lower half beef. So she always has a freezer full. So it's like, can I grab some meat to literally throw at this child? Because he just ate everything in my fridge. Like, I don't understand, like, people who have big families and dual incomes, like, I mean, it's just me, and it's very stressful, because it's like, okay, like, well, we want strawberries. I'm like, well, I bought, like, 3 quarts of strawberries 2 days ago, and you ate them. Like, I can't help you, because I can't drive however long back to the grocery store right now just to get you strawberries. And the price, and I mean, I'm from Egg, and I love supporting the farmers markets, and I love supporting local as much as I can. But I mean, like, just the price of everything is absolutely ridiculous. Like, there's just no way about it. And I don't gripe. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not buying these local strawberries because they're blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I'm buying those. I'm going to clench my butt a bit, but I know what went into it, so that's why I'm doing it. Like, if that makes any sense at all. Like, there's been a lot of education on my regards, like, talking to parents at the school who are like, everything's so expensive and they don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, you need to understand, like, why it is and what's going into it. And, like, when you break it down, it's it's not like they're making a whole lot of money off of anything. So buy the strawberries.
Yeah.
And
true.
just don't let them go bad.
Yeah. Eat them and enjoy them.
Exactly. And if I see half a strawberry attached to that stem, it's going down your throat. In the most affectionate way possible. You're eating it.
So what is a piece of parenting advice that you have either learned along the way or someone shared with you that made a difference that you'd want to share with somebody else?
I feel like talk to your kids. I feel like that is a fundamental thing and be real with them. Like, I'm in a position where my big guy Finn is super, like, he feels every single feel for everybody. He is an old soul. Like, everything just crushes him. And I've been very cognitively like to have an open platform with them. So like every single night I ask them, what was one good thing about your day, what was one bad thing about your day, and what's something you want me to know, or like you want to tell me. So I want them to be comfortable coming to me when they have those things. Like, well, I'm really upset because so and so did this or so and so did that. Like, I want them to feel safe and be comfortable. And I think in a day and age where there's so much crazy out there, that's something that we really need to stress on the tiny people, is to be comfortable in their bubbles with their people. So if something happens, it's not like, oh, well, you know, da, 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 da. It's like, Mom! And deal with that. I think that's the biggest thing that I can possibly recommend, especially for boys. Because, like, you know, Finn's like, well, I'm the man of the house. And I was like, no, the dog is the man of the house because you're 8 and he barks. Like, I get where you're going, but I would really like you to, like, it's not your job to protect me. It's my job to protect you. And trust me, sir, I do have a baseball bat. So, like, rein that in.
Yeah, and at that age to take on that responsibility, especially as a feeling child, like you don't want them to even get that concept, right? Like, how do you even know that you need a man in the house? Because let's start there.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm pretty sure. And it's really cute because his mom, he comes back. He's like, but Mom, you're just little. I'm like, what do you mean I'm just little? He's like,
Still bigger than you.
yeah. He's like, but you're not very strong. Like sometimes like round bale, you can't push a round bale. I'm like, to be fair, not a lot of people who are bigger than me could push a round bale. Like it's not just a mom thing. Like it's a fundamental human thing. Like
Let's talk about physics.
yes, exactly. So I try to like reprogram him in the sense, and like I said, I take them outside with me. They see a lot of the stuff that they do. Like they know I'm very capable, but I think it comes from a point where they're like, "Mom could squish," like Mom could squish, like, or you know. But I mean, that stuff you could walk outside and get hit by lightning. Like it's, but I think that's just what it is in his little brain right now. So I'm being very like, "Hey, it's my job to protect you. When you're 46 and a doctor, then we'll talk. Then we'll talk. You can set me up in a nest egg with all the llamas I want and my own Keurig in every room, and then we'll talk. But till then, I got you, kid." Oh, the coffee. Oh, yes. Love it.
So we ask all of our guests, if you were going to dominate a category at the county fair, what would it be? And categories can be real or made up to ensure that you win.
Ooh. Cow snuggling. I have an emotional support cow. I have 2. So I said my best friend owns a dairy farm down the road. She's got 2 cows. And they're jerseys, so like they're extra like Labrador dumb, and I love them. And there's 2 cows I go visit. One is Viola, and she is the old sassy lady in the barn, and she's a pain in the ass, and she's in everybody's face, and she's just fantastic. Like she thinks she's like a Shih Tzu. She's awesome. Emmy Moo, who is the second one. And like for the longest time, like since she was a calf in the hutches, she's been my favorite. Like I have pictures on my phone of her like growing up, and now she's a mom, and she made the cutest little thing. Oh my God, she's empanada. She's lovely. But like I literally go like her sister and her father will walk in the barn, and I'll be like in the freestall with the cows, just like with one of these 2 cows just perched and leaning on them. And they're just sitting there chewing their cud and like they don't care. And then it's just like I could be a cow cuddle specialist, I think. Like it's something that I would take great pride in.
That is definitely ribbon worthy.
On the topic of possible future careers like cow cuddle specialist, I'm just going to interject that the other day I saw, and my brain got here because I was thinking about how many more pictures I have of animals on my phone than I do of my kids or my family or humans at all, really. It's like animals, fiber, one picture of my kids. You know, when they were babies, it was all kids all the time. So I feel like it's fair.
Yeah, they move too fast now.
Yeah. But the other day on Instagram, I saw a capybara in a zoo with a back problem. And so they have hired a chiropractor to visit the capybara. Yeah, no, Sam, that's the face I made. That is exactly the face I made about the fact that the world is such a fucking delightful place that, like, shit is bad. Shit is bad everywhere. But also, there are chiropractors working on capybaras in Kansas, which just lights my little brain up to know that this person probably went to veterinary school, probably somewhere with a good reputation, became an animal chiropractor, and then is now practicing on a capybara.
This is why I still go on social media. For things like this. It's like, what can I find today? Like, show me something of like a dog dressed up like a friggin' pinata. I don't even know. There's a reel right now. It was somewhere, I can't even remember, but there's like a llama costume show for 4-H or something. It was in the States.
It's the Minnesota State Fair.
Yes, I have been sent that, I shit you not, 27 times. And every single time I thank them profusely and I'm like, you have made my day. It's not happening here, but thank you so very much. Because it's like, that is the stuff that, when bombs are being dropped and there's droughts and everything, you see a llama dressed up like a pinata. And all of a sudden, life is just a little bit better. A little bit better. Or like emus falling down ice paths. That's also quite good.
Anything with spindly legs, right?
Right? It's like, they're not meant for walking. Let's just slide. You look like a floating toilet bowl cleaner. Like, let's be serious.
I feel like we're already in our cussing and discussing segment. So if you're a listener and want to submit something that has lit you up or that you think is hilarious or delightful, or if you want to cuss and discuss something, if there's something that's pissing you off, that's also fair game. So you can use our speak pipe or our email to send them in. Katie, in addition to capybaras with back problems, do you have anything else you want to cuss and or discuss today?
I do, actually. So I sent Arlene a photo already. But we were at our local steam engine festival yesterday.
Which is a delight. Let's start there. Like that there is a steam engine festival that you can attend. That
Can you educate me on what this is? Sorry.
Okay, so steam engines are what there was before there were gasoline powered tractors. So they are
antique farm implements.
very much like if a steam locomotive and an old school tractor had a baby. Like that's basically what it is. They took away the rails, they put on steel wheels. Last year during the parade, they had a bit of a gas leak and a fire on the steam driven Calliope directly in front of my children, so it was a bit of a production to get them back to steam engine days.
That's a different reel that you can find on Instagram.
Yeah, it is on the internets.
With the music and the fire going at the same time, it's not great.
It's like Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead. What's the difference?
There's also a delightful, if anyone needs a social media to follow, the Ladies of Steam, I believe, are on Instagram, and it is all women who are licensed steam engine operators, because you do have to have a license, because they will explode.
They can catch on fire.
Well, the Calliope is propane driven, but most steam engines are driven by wood or coal, and like a pressure cooker or anything else that runs on steam, will explode and very bad things will happen if not operated correctly. Anyway, long story short, so we're at Steam Engine Days in Mabel, Minnesota. You're welcome. And my children fucking love a bouncy house. So I'm sitting there, I'm crocheting away. I have my ball of yarn on my son's Indominus Rex tail from, Jurassic Park. He's got his dinosaurs that are like a foot tall, and I've been carrying these damn things around all day, so I've got a ball of yarn stuck on the tail. I'm sitting there wondering why they don't serve beer. I'm waiting for my kids to get out of the bounce house, and here comes my precious baby angel bear daughter. She's had her face painted. At first I thought she was laughing as she came running towards me, but indeed, no, she was screaming and sobbing, and I realized that half of what I'm seeing on her face is blood, and I can't get any words out of her. And it turns out she had bitten her lip very, very minorly, but, of course, face wounds are like blah, blah, blah with the blood. Anyway, it turns out that she had been sitting on the floor in the cow-shaped bounce house, which feels like an important detail here, because Midwest, and some kid had done a backflip, which should not be happening in a bounce house, and had kicked her in the eye, which drove the other side of her face into her leg, which I only realized because there was face paint all over her leg, which is when she bit her lip. So my baby bear had to go back to school with a shiner today, at which point my husband suggested that perhaps trying to convince her to tell people that we don't talk about Fight Club was not the right response and may not help with Child Protective Services. Anyway, long story short, my daughter is kind of a hypochondriac. And so she's freaking out about how we have to take her to the eye doctor because it's probably an emergency and maybe her eyeball's going to fall out or something. And trying to raise children in a family that deals with some medical anxiety anyway, to not be hypochondriacs and to just chill the fuck out, because it's a kid getting a black eye is not really an abnormal thing, especially a farm kid, especially crazy fuckers like my kids. But also, generally, and especially as a woman, it is very important to me that my kids learn to listen to their bodies and that we support that and that we support them in being quite insistent when they need medical care and are not being listened to. But how the fuck do you balance listening to your body and being quite insistent with, I can't take you to the emergency room for a black eye?
Yeah, it's the same as I want you to listen to your body, but you're okay. You're going to school today. You're not that sick, which is the discussion that I've already had in my house, and we're only on week 2 of school. It's like, I hear you.
I find that normally if I say, are you sick enough to stay home, if I turn off the TV and the iPad, frequently reassesses how sick they are. But yes, trying to teach little, and it looks so bad. And she had to make herself an ice pack today and all morning. It was, well, I hope this friend and that friend are kind to me because my eye. Maybe you should call my principal and let her know. Maybe you should call my teacher and let her know. I did message her teacher and was like, just in case she does spout off with it, we don't talk about Fight Club. I did want her to actually know what had happened. So if anyone has any suggestions for how to teach a kid to listen to their body and insist on things while also teaching them to chill the fuck out, that would be terrific. Sam, what do you have to cuss and discuss today?
This is going to sound horrible, but socks and Shanks. I have 500 pocket knives. I swear to God. And they grow legs and walk away. And I can't find them. And I don't know where they go. And I don't know, like, I have turned my house upside down today and I cannot find a single one. I've checked every pair of my overalls. I have no idea where they go. And I'm raging because I'm like, how am I supposed to cut open a round bale in a timely fashion and continue on with life when nothing stabby is where they're supposed to be? Drives me insane.
Did you say socks and Shanks?
Yes, I call them Shanks so my kids don't play with them. And socks. I don't understand this creature who lives in my house or my dryer who just takes one sock of a pair and then vamooses forever. I literally have a bin, like, and my mother can tell you that this is my mother. She walks into my house and you can see her eye twitching and her neck going because I have a Rubbermaid container of socks that if you do not immediately have a friend, you come and live in here until I can procure your friend for you. And I made a grave error yesterday of deciding that today is the day. The kids are at their dad's. I have nothing that I really should be doing, or like everything I have want to do is not need to do. So I've done some wants. The needs are done. This bitch needs to get tackled. It was immediately regretting my life decisions. I'm not joking. There are socks in there from when Felix was fresh that are like this big. And I'm like, why are you still in existence? But what pisses me off even more is that there's 2 of the fucking things. And now I'm like, where are the usable socks? The gnome has taken them. And I'm contemplating if I just throw them all out and go buy new socks for everybody, like 5 packages of all one color, because, God forbid you wear a llama sock with a chicken sock, because apparently that's sacrilegious. And I'm like, that, like, as long as it's the same texture, it shouldn't matter. That's my vision. I understand if you have like a wool sock and like an anklet, that's a bit kind of like off-putting, but if you have 2 socks the same texture, it should not matter. And I have been raging about socks for like 48 hours. So there you go.
I also have a bin of socks. I think that most houses probably have one, right? Unless they're the people who just throw them out, but then you have to throw out the opposite one when it finally does reappear. So then I don't know how you end up with any socks ever, because I don't think the socks go into the wash at the same time is part of the problem.
I think they're going to come off the feet at the same time.
You don't throw the one away. That is your seed crop for next year. I say this as someone who did just throw all the socks away. And you know what? 3 weeks later, I have a bin of socks. I don't know where they're coming from.
Because all their pairs are in the garbage.
And we're lucky enough that we have a cleaning lady who comes every other week. She's been coming for 2.5 years now, I think, almost. She still, I can see her eye twitch when I'm like, oh, I pair their socks, but then both kids' socks, and I have a boy and a girl, they're 16 months apart, their feet are the same size. I match as many socks as I can. All the matched socks go in one bin together. I don't care whose socks are whose. They'll figure it out. There's like 50 pairs of socks in that bin. It makes her eye twitch. I can see it every time. And I'm just like, too bad, ma'am.
The 3 of us wear the same socks. Like, I'm not even joking. Finn can wear my Blundstones now. His feet are so big. And the little one's coming up behind, not too far off. So, like, our feet can stretch into his socks. So, like, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm just like, this is not okay. Like, you're 8 and 5. Like, I'm 36 years old. I've spawned you. Refrain. Like, there has to, like, thankfully they don't want to wear my underwear, because that would be really awkward. But, like, I can draw the line there, and they have my socks. And it's, Finn tried to go to the door with my Blundstones the other day. I'm like, I will club you in the head if you put those Blundstones outside. They're like my work ones, my good ones that I have for trade shows and stuff. He's like, but I like them. And I'm like, you like life a lot more. Promise you that. Like, I'm not even negotiating. You can't even, because you'll have those things covered in God knows what, and I'll have to harm you. Like,
All right, so what do you have to cuss and discuss, Arlene?
So this is my annual September rant. We're recording in September. I think this episode will probably come out in October, but it still qualifies. So September is the best for lots of reasons, but the weather is finally like the kind that I really love, like cool at night, warm usually during the day. There's some sun that doesn't want to kill you. You can like sit in the sun and you don't feel like your skin is going to like crisp immediately. Anyway, September is great, except that my body thinks that the things in the air in September want to kill me. So the exact time of year when I want to be outside as much as possible is also the time of year where I can't breathe. And I get that weird allergy response where like my whole inside of my mouth is itchy. And every once in a while I'll go for a walk and get like a little bit of pollen in my eye. And then like my eyes puff up and like almost want to close on me. So I'm just surviving on allergy medication and boxes of Kleenex under my arm all the time right now. But I still love the weather. I just want to be outside, and my body thinks that I'm gonna die.
is there a certain med that works best for you when you're like that? Do you mind me asking? Like, it's just like anything?
I'm doing kind of 2 different kinds of allergy medication that are both a 24-hour, and I stagger them. So it's probably not pharmacy recommended, but that's my current strategy. So, because then there's a bit of overlap.
Arlene, it actually is what our doctor recommended.
Okay, well, I didn't ask anybody about it. I just did it.
In my world, I call that integrated pest management. It's very nice.
Oh, there you go. Get rid of the pests.
Get rid of the pests. All the germs and phlegm be gone.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much, Sam, for joining us today. Where can people find you and your adorable menagerie online?
So on Instagram and Facebook or Maple River Farm, you will see a picture. There's a few Maple River Farms. So we're the one that's in Nova Scotia. My profile picture is a picture of me and one of my llamas, Lawrence. He's quite fashionable when it comes to seasonality. If you're wondering if he wears antlers and stuff like that, he does.
Oh, perfect.
And then for my website, it's www.mapleriverfarm.ca, and that's where we have like our fertilizer and our yarn and like our education stuff and the whole kit and caboodle. So
Thank you so much. It was great to meet you.
it was lovely meeting you too. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us on Barnyard Language. If you enjoy the show, please support us on Patreon with a donation.
Big thanks go out to our show editor, Krista Paffrath at the Rural Podcast Network.
Please rate and review the podcast wherever you listen and follow the show so you never miss an episode.
If you want to connect with other farming families, join the private Barnyard Language Facebook group.
We are always in search of future guests for the podcast. If you or someone you know would like to chat with us, get in touch.